Hey everyone, I wanted to jump on super quick to do a quick video on how to create this really cute gift bag out of a Color Street catalog using the full catalog with no cutting. It's an 8.5 by 1.5 inch bag. It can hold at least 12 sets in it, as well as some other extra goodies. So it's perfect for when you're going to hand deliver items, sets, and other goodies to your hostesses or customers. My customers have absolutely loved these bags. They actually thought I bought them from Color Street and were even more surprised when they found out that I actually made these bags. So you don't need a whole lot of supplies for these bags, but one of the things I do love about them is that it showcases the sets that are currently available, or maybe were previously available in a previous release and maybe still available online. This is a great way to use extra catalogs that you have kind of lying around that were from like a previous collection. All of the sets you can see are on the side on both, basically all four sides of this bag. One of the things I do love about it is all the information that's inside. So you can still see your Welcome to Color Street information about the strips, as well as the host benefits. So you're always sending that message about the really great things that your hostesses can earn just by hosting a party with you. And then you can also see the Becoming a Stylist information, including the starter kit contents and the price. So again, we're using the full bag, the full catalog to make this bag. And the other thing, if I didn't mention it already, is that we can make it so where these fold down, so you can fold flat, that is for storage, so that you can make a bunch of them at a given time and just store them away, and then you can just grab one when you need it and on the go instead of trying to make one on the fly. So as far as supplies go, it's pretty minimal on what you need. You need a catalog, either current collection or previous collection, really whatever you got. You need some packing tape. This is for the bottom of the bag because it's sturdier than Scotch tape. You need scissors just to cut the tape, really. That's all you need the scissors for. I've got a ruler to help out with some initial measurements, a hole punch, some 1/8 inch ribbon. You can really use any color ribbon because there's so many colors on the bag. Really, any color ribbon is going to go well with these bags. Or if you have any jute or rope or different things like that, that would look really cute too. And then you have a couple of different options depending on what you have at your house. We can use regular Scotch tape, either matte finish, clear finish, really whatever you got. Or if you're a crafter and have double-sided tape, this is another great option to use as well. So with these two, you don't need both, you just need one or the other. And I'm gonna show you a few different options when we get to that point on how you can use the double-sided tape or the Scotch tape. It's really up to you. As far as your ribbon goes, you need about two pieces of ribbon at about 12 to 13 inches long a piece. So I'm gonna get all of this out of the way for now so we can get started. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our catalog with the sets facing down. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the sides of our bag, or at least the left side of our bag. So the first thing to do is to take your cover and just reinforce this crease on the other side. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring this whole left side where the French sets are here all the way over to meet this crease line of the catalog. So this is where our first measurement comes into play, because basically this is going to be one side of our bag right here. So the first thing we want to do is measure 1.5 inches from the edge of the left seam over just 1.5 inches in, and it happens to line up perfectly with the L in an L in nail. So we're going to make a fold that goes along this line right here. I'm going to try and zoom in and out so you guys can see what I'm doing, since there is quite a bit of folding involved. So I don't know how with the new spring 2020 catalogs, if the nail art is going to be in the same place, so you may have to do an initial measurement the first time. So basically, I'm going to find that long part of the L. You wanna make sure you line up the top here so that your bag just looks neat and tidy. And then I'm gonna make an initial crease line there at the L. Make sure this is all lined up, and then just make my crease line. And so right now, we've already got our very first side of our bag, the left side. So now we're just gonna flatten that back out a little bit. And now this is where our tape options come in. So let's talk about tape option number 1. Tape option number 1 is gonna be using our Scotch tape. What you can do here is we want these ends taped together. You wanna make sure the tops, are lined up. And then really we just need a piece of tape that connects these two sides right here. So it doesn't have to be a long piece of tape. It just needs to hold these two pieces together. You don't need to go all the way to the bottom because we're gonna be folding this to make a bottom. So right here would be sufficient. So that's option number 1, using Scotch tape. Option number 2, I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna reuse it actually. You can make your own double-sided tape. We've all done this before there was double-sided tape, we made our own. So you can actually take your double-sided tape and place it here. I'd put a small piece here as well, just for inside the bag so this piece doesn't flop open. So you can place your double-sided tape there, make sure this is flat and that your tops line up. And there you go. That's option number 2. Option number 3 is gonna use our double-sided tape. So I'm gonna open this back up. Get rid of that. And what I like to do with my double-sided tape is I like to put a small piece here and then 2 small pieces, one above the heart and then maybe right next to the nail sets. So I'm just gonna, doesn't have to be big strips of tape. Again, make sure this is flat and you're gonna fold over your cover. Again, making sure that your tops are lined up nicely. And there we have our first side, one of our sides of our bag. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to make the right side of the bag. And so to do that, all we're gonna do, since this is now adhered and in place, we're just gonna shift this over to this new crease line that we made. And you're just gonna run your hand across and actually make sure your tops are lined up really well. And you're gonna make a new crease line over here. So now we have the basics of our bag. We've got 2 long sides and 2 short sides. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create the crease line for the side of our bag. Basically, this little triangle fold here is what we're gonna do next. So to do that, kind of zoom in a little bit here. What we wanna do is take our side here, this is our left side of our bag, and what we wanna do is we wanna meet the corner to corner, corner to corner. It's gonna give us a nice even crease line. So to do that, you may have to kind of stick your fingers down here in the middle to kind of get it to fold initially. You're gonna match up the corner, corner to corner. Doesn't have to be perfect. Crease it down. We've got that nice triangle. You'll turn your bag around and do the exact same thing. We're gonna make our crease line here at the side. So kind of put your index finger in here to kind of start that fold. And again, corner to corner, corner to corner. Okay, so now we have our crease lines. So the next thing we're going to work on is we are going to make the bottom fold of our bag. So what I like to do is about 1 inch from the bottom of the bag. So about 1 inch from the bottom of your bag is going to be right above the hashtag in Color Street, or depending on what's on the other side of your bag, 1 inch up on this set is going to be right where the Coming Up Rose Gold glitter starts. So again, if it's a little bit over that, it's fine. I would just get as close to 1 inch, but not less than 1 inch. So anywhere between this range. So now that we have that as our guide mark, I'm just going to turn the bag over, find that line where Coming Up Rose Gold, the glitter starts. And before you make your crease lines, make sure that the end, the left lines up. So that you can make sure as even as possible. Again, this is not an exact science. If you want to measure everything, you totally can do that. I find that once you kind of do a few bags like this, it gets a lot easier to where maybe you don't need the ruler as much. Okay, so now that we've got our bottom created, and I just flipped it over to reinforce that crease line again. So now what we're going to do, before we start assembling the bottom of our bag, it's kind of like wrapping a present. So we want to make some crease lines at the bottom that help us once we start really assembling our bag. So with our bag split out kind of spread out like this, with our right side of the bag over here, what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple of kind of triangle creases here. So we're going to bring this side of the bag to the crease line at the bottom here. We're just gonna kind of fold that up to meet the edge, crease it down. Gonna do the same thing on this side of the bag. This side is gonna come up to meet that crease line. It really helps when you go to fold your bag. Okay, now we need to make a couple more crease lines. So what we're gonna do is shift the bag to the right. So now the left side of the bag is showing, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take this side and we're gonna meet it up with this crease line. And you're gonna do that on the other side as well. This side, line up with this crease line. I feel like I'm doing origami or something. Okay, so now we've pretty much got all of our folds ready, and we're actually ready to start assembling the bottom of the bag. So if you haven't already, you want to cut a piece of your packing tape about 8 inches, because you don't want it to go over the edges, the short edges of your bag. So 8 inches is about perfect. So what we're gonna do now, let me make sure this is zoomed out, is stand the bag on its top. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fold the sides in and square those up. So you just find your crease line over here to where it's square. And this is where those triangles that we just made come in super handy. Again, we're gonna fold. We're gonna fold it down to square it. And if it's not cooperating like this one's kind of doing, just reinforce those little crease lines, triangle crease lines that you made, and it'll all be good. Okay, now we're ready to kind of reinforce these edges here, your bottom crease lines, to just, there we go. Okay. And then what I like to do is try to kind of make sure these are parallel. They're not going to be perfect. Remember, we're folding a bag. It's not going to be exactly perfect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our 8 inches of packing tape and we're going to put it right on top. It's okay if it's not perfect. Just needs to be on there for a second so we're gonna flip it over. All right, so now we're gonna flip your bag over and you're gonna put your hands inside and you're gonna rub the bottom, make sure the flaps are down. Run your hand along the bottom just to make sure that the tape sticks. Same thing with this side. So you really wanna reinforce that bottom. If your packing tape is over the edge here, see how it's still over? I wanted to wait till I had it really in place. You can now just kind of fold that down. Come on. All right. It's stuck to my table. Flip it over. You're gonna do the other side as well. If you wanted, you could trim it to a smaller width of the packing tape so you don't have these edges, but really no one's gonna really notice when they see these. They're gonna be looking at all the awesome colors of your bag. They aren't really gonna care about some tape at the bottom. Like I said, I've done all mine like this and my customers absolutely love them. They've never once said, oh my gosh, there's tape on here. Never once. So there we go. It's now secure on the bottom. Now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna punch the holes in our bag and make our handles. So again, you need just a regular size hole punch and then 2 pieces of your 1/8 inch ribbon or rope, whatever you've got, about 12 inches a piece. 12 to 13 inches is a good length that's proportional to the bag. So what you want to do is you want to make sure we're punching the holes in the same place on both sides of the bag. So make sure you kind of press them together. This is another place where you can use a ruler if you wanted to. This bag, see, it's about 8.5 inches wide. I like to punch my holes at 3 inches from each side. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that. So about 3 inches from each side of your bag, which will put it at 3 inches, and 5.5 inches gives you that same distance. I like to punch my holes down where this art design, where the words are, gives you enough room at the top so your holes don't rip. So again, this doesn't have to be exact. So on this one, 5.5 is around the O, and 3 is, you know, not far off the center there, or that seam line. So I'm not gonna lose any sleep if it's not perfect, but I do wanna get it down. Let me zoom out again. My bigger concern is getting it further down and in alignment with where with this line of purple text. That's one hole. I said the other one was around the O. And so there's my 2 holes. Now what we're gonna do is take 1 piece of our ribbon, put through the holes here. Depending on your ribbon, some are a little trickier than others. What I usually do is just line these up and then do a knot as close to the bottom as I can. Sometimes the ribbon cooperates, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see what it'll do tonight, since I'm actually trying to do it on a video, if it's gonna cooperate or not. So I just try to kind of pull it as close to the edge as I can. So it's one side. Whoops, didn't mean to pull the whole thing there. Okay, take my other ribbon through the holes. I find when my nails are longer, it's more difficult to do these. And again, it depends on the ribbon. And if you like to knot them a different way, you know, it's really up to you, as long as they stay. And I'm gonna try and go as close to the edge as I can. And if you don't like these little tails, feel like those little tails are in the way, you could use a piece of tape and tape them down, but I don't do that. So there you've got your handles all ready to go. The last thing I want to show you real quick is how to fold them so that you can have them, like I said, store them flat. So to do that, you're kind of just gonna follow this crease down until you get to the bottom. It's easier if you kind of lay it down and follow that crease line. Then you can just fold it up, crease it down, just press it down, kind of go over your crease lines again. And then there you go. Now you can store your bags flat. This might be a good time to fix the tape if you need to. And there you go. That's all it takes to create your little gift bag. Hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck. I know you can do it. Like I said, it takes a couple of times, a little bit of practice to get it down, but I've made a bunch of these now, and like I said, my customers absolutely love them. I also created a video on how to create some small little envelopes if you're just doing 1 or 2 sets for delivery. I'll post a link for that in the comments. So everyone have a great night and take care.